air duct. Oh my God. Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Stay calm. You shut up! I'm so fucking scared right now. You shut up!
Okay. What it is, coming to you from rainy as hell, California. You might even see my lighting is different today because there's no sunshine. There's only rain. Just crazy pouring rain. What's up, Sherry? You're in Tempe, Arizona. Hopefully it's better. Robert Nichols says our first 2024 distraction. Yeah, well, I have an article I'll read you guys saying the list might be a little bit overhyped, but people were pretty excited about it yesterday. Let me play my intro music. Yeah, there we go. That helps. Boom. Right, there we go. Cool. Good to see you guys. Good to see people plugging the show. How is it in Arizona? God, I could show you the map. I've been driving around. We took Sumi to the vet today in the rain. And believe it or not, they still had some kind of weird COVID protocol. Do you guys still see people wearing masks sometimes? Man, they said we couldn't even go in with her. They took her in and then called us and stuff. Weird. So anyway, how are you? You, dear listener, who tunes into this show when you have many options to choose from. And some of them aren't bad either. There are people waking up. I mean, Tucker Carlson, some people, I could tell some people in the chat still think Tucker Carlson is a plant, but that's, you know, you have Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, then you have Jimmy Dore. You have the other guy, Russell Brand. You have lots of choices in entertainment. People telling the truth, kind of, as much as possible. So anyway, we have news today. The news is that Trump got kicked off the... Well, no. It's kind of too... Trump, they ruled against having Trump on the Colorado ballot. So I have responses to that. Let me turn down my music to an acceptable level for everybody to enjoy. And if I want to, I can play my harmonica too. Sumi's okay. We were just checking on her eyes just to see what our options are. But we had a good learning experience today. So anyway, welcome to the show. I'm going to give you guys different clips. I'll give you some funny videos to start out. Bitcoin's having a good day. Crypto's having a good day today. The stock market started to reverse today. So we'll see. Everybody's talked, we've talked ever since I started the show back in 2015. I've been talking about a stock market crash, but I stopped doing that because it kept going up. What are you going to say? There are so many people who predict doom, right? Those are the videos I would always see do the best. Is people saying it was going to be all over. Then there's Peter Schiff out there saying gold is going to go to the moon. Gold still really hasn't done much, but it's doing okay now. It's $2,050 an ounce. Silver was up a little bit today. Silver's over $24, but it's Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that are taking the spotlight these days. So Bitcoin's up around 43,000 today. Got up over 44,000 briefly. So we're feeling bullish about that. Bitcoin is going to be available for everybody to buy, even people who don't like taking chances. It's going to be available as an ETF very soon. They say before January 10th. So get a move on, get some Bitcoin. I've been advising it for a long time. Actually, my crypto investments are good. Are better than some. Some have really not done well, like the Hexicans. You guys have Hex or Pulse? Man, Some people have advised people to buy some sketchy coins, but I have too, maybe in the past. So you got to get over it. So thanks, Orwell, today. Thanks, Al Shizzle. Hey, Al Shizzle, thanks for the coffees. I appreciate it. I saw those come by. I'll read off the note with the Christmas note. Thanks at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. We also still have a sale on our shirts. If you go to truthclothing.io and use code Mary25, you'll get 25% off virtually everything that's not already on a crazy discounted sale. And I'm going to the post office after this to drop off some packages from people who have taken advantage of it. So make sure to check that out. Truthclothing.io, Mary25. Question everything t-shirts. Virtually everything is cheaper, and I have them. I have them, and I ship them. Screen last forever. Ever thought about living forever? What does it mean to live forever? To live forever and have memory of it, because we have eternal souls, I believe. I believe our spirits are eternal, but we have forgetfulness, which helps us because it's stressful thinking about living forever. It is stressful. And then you have to figure out how you're going to have money. So that's one of those things is like, will Bitcoin be around forever as long as gold and silver? Something to think about. So anyway, good to see you guys. Always good to do the show. I'll give you guys all the news, all the clips, all the responses to the Colorado thing, which isn't going to happen. That's the news. Like the Supreme Court is going to look at it and he won't be kept off the ballot, most likely, but they're planning it in a number of other states too. So Epstein's list. Okay. So that's Colorado. Yeah. I have a response from Vivek, from DeSantis, from Tucker, from pollsters. Pollsters say his numbers are going to go up now. So I know many of you are looking forward to voting for Donald Trump, and you would not like that opportunity taken away from you. Apparently, they're looking at taking him off the primary ballot in a lot of states, including California. So I'll make sure to tell you all the maneuvering and the moves. God, the rain is insane. All right, I'll play the intro and then we'll get started, okay? Good to see you guys. Let's do this. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, like in the clip. In the clip, it's always a sunny day in California, but not lately, not the last few days. So what should I show you guys first? I want to show you a funny video. Let me show you a funny video from New York about why New York is the greatest city on the globe. Because anytime you might see a plane fly into the World Trade Center. Here, I'll show you.
Mr. Mayor, we've come to the end of what was a very eventful 2023, right? So when you look at the totality of the year, if you had to describe it, and it's tough to do, in one word, what would that word be? And tell me why.
New York. This is a place where every day you wake up, you could experience everything from a plane crashing into our trade center to a person who's celebrating a new business that's open. This is a very, very complicated city, and that's why it's the greatest city on the globe.
There you go. That's funny. Funny you would say that. Any day, plane might. What do you guys think? You think there were planes? I've gotten censored before for saying something different, for just questioning it, actually. You think 9/11 stuff is ever 9/11 stuff is getting more mainstream with people like Tucker Carlson mentioning Building 7 from time to time without showing the video or having anybody on from architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, like I have. But do you guys think eventually it's going to be accepted mainstream knowledge that something nefarious happened on January? I'm sorry, not January 6th. January 6th is another story. On September 11th, 2001. Besides, Pirate X Pirate says Building 7 did not Epstein itself. See, that's like a double negative, though. It did, if you believe someone else Epstein other than Epstein. It did kind of Epstein itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't even understand. I have no idea. Donald Trump ran an ad. You remember the sex in the Senate hearing, right? What do they say? There's no sex in the champagne room. I know there is sometimes, though. No sex in the Senate chamber, but there was, and it was gross without saying anything bad. So this is Donald Trump's ad. It's time to restore decency. A lot of people were saying the video from the White House. Were you guys offended by that? I thought the video from the White House wasn't that bad. Dancers are queer by nature. You know, they're already a little bit mixed gender, but there was a guy in a furry mask. So I'll show you this video Laura Loomer posted that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. Why is Donald Trump on Truth Social? Why would anyone use that website now that Twitter allows basically free speech? I'm curious about that. So here we go. Here's Donald Trump said, it's time to restore decency based on what the Democrats always say, right? By electing Joe Biden, we had decency back in the White House. Let's see.
I'm confident we believe in honesty and decency. Happy Pride Month.
There's the furry.
The shocking discovery of cocaine just steps from the Oval Office.
How this got into the White House and who brought it in, all of those questions still lingering.
I'm confident we believe in honesty and decency. Trump doesn't seem to believe in any of that.
Merry Christmas. How are you? Everything good? You doing well in school?
Hello, good evening.
Well, that's very good. Well, you just have a good time.
It was so much better. Life was so much better.
We're saying Merry Christmas again.
There we go. We say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays. God bless us. Seven Sons is calling me a dummy. Thank you, Seven Sons. I'll highlight your comment just for that. Thank you. I'm a dummy. There's no free speech on Twitter. Well, it's way freer than it used to be. What do you want? It's way freer than it used to be. There's so many things I've said under the current regime that I would have gotten banned from before. But Seven Sons says Twitter isn't free speech. Dummy. People get banned regularly, and the previously banned remain banned. Well, what about Alex Jones? What about Kanye West? What about the satire magazine? What's it called? Babylon Bee. What about Babylon Bee? What about people that were banned that are no longer banned? So it's not true. Alex Jones came back. Alex Jones, I watched his video. So anyway, so there's the time to restore decency. There we go. Okay. Let me show you. I have this video about a water powered car where people say the guy got killed for posting it. Do you guys want to see that? I don't care. It's all right. It's not that important. It's not really news. Well, I'll show it to you anyway. This is a water powered car. I just thought this was an interesting clip. Check this out. They say that this guy was never heard from again. Every time somebody comes out with a car that's powered by water, they disappear or die, right? Remember the guy? There was a guy that died who was working on water-powered car. Do you guys think it's possible? We live under a regime of artificial scarcity. So we need to have things that are artificially scarce, like oil, energy. We can't have free energy. So if somebody invented it, then would they get Epsteined? to say it the right way. So here, I'll show you this video anyway.
Hi, my name is Grant, and this is a 1998 Ford Explorer Sport. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ford's Explorer line, but they have a reputation of being horrible gas guzzlers. And I can actually attest to that. I did the mileage tests on my truck and found out that I was getting 13.6 miles per gallon highway, which as far as I'm concerned is absolutely unacceptable. Last year alone, I spent $11.4 bajillion on gasoline. Okay, I made that number up, but it sure felt like it. Well, I did something about it, and now I'm getting 56% better gas mileage, which translates to 56% savings in my pocket at the gas pump. How did I do it? My truck is now a water hybrid. Check this out. Well, technically, it's a hydrogen on demand hybrid. What we have here is distilled water with 1 teaspoon of baking soda used as a catalyst. We tickle that water with 12 volts of electricity, and what it does is it separates the hydrogen from the oxygen. That gas is then sent into the combustion chamber, where I was formerly getting a 30% burn. That's right, in all of your gas vehicles, you only get a 30% fuel burn, which translates to 70% of your fuel, of your gas, comes out of your tailpipe. Now, however, I'm getting a 100% burn in my combustion chamber, which means a few benefits. Number one, after a couple hours of running hydrogen, it had blown years of deposits out of my engine. My engine actually idles so quietly in city traffic, I can't even hear it. My torque increased. My horsepower increased.
Oh, there you go. That's the whole clip. So anyway, there's the joke. All right, let me give you the news on Epstein. Okay. Everybody was very excited yesterday, and the video I opened with indicated that everybody is very excited for the Epstein list to come out. So here's an article saying don't get too excited over the Epstein John Doe list, and that's because of something posted by TechnoFog on Twitter. So let me read you this article. According to the Daily Mail and everybody else, a New York federal judge has ordered the release of a cache of documents related to convicted dead pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Is he dead? That's the real question. Did Epstein even get Epsteined? Or what did they do to him? Remember that the guy came in with a different ear? Let me see that. Epstein body, different ear. Let's see. No. Conspiracy. Body double photos. Body double photos. Let's see. It's on Snopes. Snopes has it. So speaking of Epstein himself, they've compared photos of Jeffrey Epstein's ear compared to the ear. Let's see if they show it. There's the ear. Oh, why is it so small? Damn. Let me see. This isn't any good. The ear of the corpse that was wheeled in was much different than the ear of Jeffrey Epstein. And then they determined that Jeffrey Epstein may have been murdered because his hyoid bone was messed up. While this theory has been large here, one such conspiracy theory held the billionaire had faked his death by using a body double. This theory is largely based on a set of photographs allegedly comparing a picture of Epstein when he was alive with a picture of Epstein's corpse. Proponents of this theory claim some notable differences in Epstein's nose and ear are proof that the corpse photograph actually showed a second person. Yeah, it's true. Let's see if I can click on this link. See if it still exists. Come on, give me open link in new tab. Let's see. I'm seeing if it shows anything. Oop, there's an ad for Sephora. Here we go. Yeah, they are way different. Let me show you. Here's, here we go. So this was the corpse here. Here. Yeah, here's the corpse that looks different. Its ear looks totally different. Totally different. And they're saying in Snopes that you can't compare a 15-year-old photo. Well, your ear doesn't change that much. And the nose, and the nose as well. So the nose is way different. So it appeared that to me, as if the body that was being wheeled away that they got a picture of was not the same as Jeffrey Epstein, but they did an autopsy and stuff, so who knows? Anyway, let me go back to the story. Contained in the roughly 10,000 pages of documents scheduled for January 1st, 2024, is expected to be a list of 177 John Does who were Epstein's friends, recruiters, and victims. They say that's an inaccurate number. Curb your enthusiasm. In February of this year, Twitter Files journalist and attorney Techno Fog of The Reactionary analyzed a proposed list of 167 John Does, not 177, assembled by lawyers for Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell. Sadly, around 100 of the Does have already been identified via media or court proceedings. Many of these Does weren't involved in anything serious or salacious and were often doctors or acquaintances of the victims. In other instances, the Does, the John Does, may have been actual or potential victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Technofog also points out the recent court order is a scattershot of names. And it says, and again, many of the John Does were not alleged by the parties to have committed any wrongdoing. For example, John Doe 14 is referenced in one sealed court filing related to an effort by Maxwell to oppose answering deposition questions under seal. The, quote, sealed material as to John Doe 14 is not salacious, unquote. He isn't, as others have promised, a key figure in the Epstein-Maxwell crimes. And that's true for many of the other John Does. We've analyzed the prior John Doe list and compared it to today's order. Here's the summary of our findings. There are approximately 100 John Does who were previously identified. Some have been interviewed by the media. The names of others, including victims, had been discussed in Maxwell's criminal trial. This includes victims and perpetrators. Approximately 67 remain unidentified. For 33 of the unknown John Does, the sealed material relating to them is not salacious, and that's in quotes, or their name was in a search term, or they were mentioned in a deposition. In the case of John Doe 88, quote, the only reference of John Doe 88 is the deposition question in answer to which the deponent, what is a deponent? Denied knowledge of the individual. The person being deposed, I guess. Denied knowledge of the individual. 6 of the unidentified John Does are victims whose names will not be released. 6 of the unidentified John Does were identified as either victim affiliates or alleged witnesses with connections to the victims. Their names and materials concerning them will be released. The names and materials related to a number of Epstein affiliates or former Epstein employees will be released. Records indicate, but do not guarantee, that the majority of these do not include salacious information. The name and materials concerning John Doe 29, a former Epstein employee, will be unsealed. The judge described them as a staff member possibly present at a time and place. This might be an Epstein employee who is theorized by a witness to perhaps be present in a home when the victim was abused. So it says there are, however, John Does who may be significant, but that is a small number compared to the 167 John Does subject to the judge's order. We've summarized them below. And I have the post from Technofog, which is here. John Doe 58. There are 2 alleged perpetrators who haven't been ID'd. John Does 58 and 94. John Doe 58 was previously ID'd as a witness and perpetrator. We noted in February 23rd that he allegedly had sex with a victim at Epstein's New York mansion. John Doe 94 is an alleged victim, perpetrator, and Maxwell Epstein affiliate, said to have committed serious wrongdoing. The list of victims and perpetrators is small. Might be Sarah Kellen or someone still unidentified. John Doe 94 will be unsealed. Finally, there are a handful of other John Does listed as witness or Epstein Maxwell affiliates. John Doe number 113, for example, who engaged in serious wrongdoing. Their identities will also be unsealed. As we said, we reported much of this back in February 2023. Okay. So that's the post from him. Lots of confusion. So that's what's going on with the Epstein thing. They will be releasing a number of names, and we'll see. It sounds like most of them, 100, have already all been identified somehow. So we'll see if we get anything new that was not previously known. Hey, Hat Pauser, how are you doing? Hey, St. Katie, welcome to the chat. All right, now, okay. Trump, you heard about the Trump decision on Colorado, which is going to go to the Supreme Court. I have a clip from Viva Frey where he was reading from it and explains that it's no matter what, he's still going to be on the ballot. Their decision seems like, so it's kind of a nothing burger. The decision seems like he isn't going to be on the ballot, but as a matter of fact, what they wrote in the decision is that the decision is going to be stayed until the Supreme Court decides on it. And everybody says the Supreme Court is going to overturn it. So let me see if this clip is worthwhile.
Supreme Court of Colorado. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll read it without commentary. Okay. But for our resolution of the elector's challenge under the election code, the secretary would be required to include President Trump's name on the 2024 presidential primary ballot. Read that again. But for our resolution of the elector's challenge, the person would be required to include Trump's name on the ballot. What happens here, though? This is page 8 to 9. Therefore, to maintain the status quo pending any review by the U.S. Supreme Court, here's things I would bet on. Death, taxes, and this decision being challenged to the Supreme Court. We stay our ruling until January 4, in brackets, the day before the secretary's deadline to certify the content of the presidential primary ballot. What does that mean, people? We're going to issue a load of steaming horseshit of a decision, but we're going to stay our own decision until the day before, the day that the state person needs to know who's going to be on the ballot. But wait, there's more. Not only do we recognize that our decision, majority 4-3 split decision, is a steaming pile of judicial dog shit, they're going to stay their decision until January 4, 2024, the day before the secretary's deadline to certify the content of the presidential primary ballot. If review is sought in the Supreme Court before the stay expires on January 4, 2024, then the stay shall remain in place until the secretary will continue. Sorry, what the heck am I looking at here? If review is sought in the Supreme Court before the stay expires on January 4, 2024, then the stay shall remain in place, and the secretary will continue to be required to include President Trump's name on the 2024 primary ballot until receipt of any order or mandate from the Supreme Court. Let me put my glasses back on because I don't like being naked, and I'm naked without my glasses. I don't like being ugly. I'm not superficial, but I don't like looking ugly. What did we just hear? All right, we've issued this ridiculous bullshit order, 4-3 split decision from the Supreme Court of Colorado, which is the higher court from the state court. They heard it from the state court, and am I wrong, or did they overturn the state court? I think they overturned the state court. Doesn't matter. The Supreme Court has issued the split decision, and they say, yes, Trump engaged in inciting the insurrection. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was quoting Chuck Schumer. He engaged in insurrection and is therefore disqualified under the 14th Amendment, third article of the United States Constitution. They are so worried about election interference.
I'm hearing phantom noises. So there you go. So they're staying the decision, right? And they did it under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which was made so that Confederates, that people who fought for the South, for the Confederates, couldn't be in office. So that's what they did it on. But in any case, so it happened, but it's still bullshit the way he says it. But California has called on the California Secretary of State to explore every legal option to remove President Trump from California's 2024 primary ballot. And then here's an update. All these states, Colorado ruled that Trump is ineligible pending U.S. Supreme Court review. Maine is going to have a decision on it Friday. California, efforts are underway to disqualify Trump, with Lieutenant Governor calling on the Secretary of State to explore legal options. New Hampshire, the state is considering the applicability of the 14th Amendment. Michigan, a lawsuit seeks to bar Trump from the ballot over insurrection allegations, and the Michigan Supreme Court is reviewing an appeal on the matter. Additionally, Michigan may soon join other states in removing Trump from its ballot. Arizona, the Secretary of State has said he lacks the authority to disqualify Trump, but the issue remains open. And in New Mexico, similar efforts to disqualify Trump are occurring. So let's get to the responses. Here's Tucker Carlson. I haven't seen this yet. Here's Tucker Carlson's response to it. Play that.
This was pretty puzzling to watch. Whatever else January 6th was, and in some ways we still don't know exactly what it was not a Trump-led insurrection. The crowd had no guns. They had no plan to overthrow the government. Nothing like that has ever emerged. And above all, Trump was not leading it. He was miles away at the White House at the time, where he issued a public statement calling for calm and nonviolence. So why were the people on television telling us that Trump led an insurrection? This was, of course, a lie, but it was also a very obvious lie. So clearly we were watching the rollout of a talking point, words crafted for a specific purpose. But what was the purpose? We got an answer to that question yesterday when the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that because he led an insurrection, Donald Trump's name cannot appear on the state's ballot next fall. The 4 liberal judges who concluded this cited as their justification Article 3 of the 14th Amendment, which was written in 1868 to keep former Confederate officials from holding office. That was the sum total of their reasoning. Despite the fact Donald Trump has never been convicted by any court of insurrection, and although the 14th Amendment specifically does not apply to the presidency, Donald Trump cannot run for president because he's an insurrectionist. This seemed like lunacy because it was lunacy. 3,000 miles away in El Salvador, there was no question about what was happening. The United States has lost its ability to lecture any other country about, quote, democracy, wrote Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele. And yet in this country, no one on the left dared say that. Instead, Donald Trump's enemies celebrated. The Atlantic magazine expressed gratitude that unelected judges had, quote, rescued the country from the desires of voters, because actually, that's democracy. And then there was Jenna Griswold, that's the Colorado Secretary of State. You may not have seen her before, but you will instantly recognize the category she represents. Unhappy 39-year-old liberal women with Ivy League degrees and a deep streak of authoritarian impulses. Here's Griswold on MSNBC last night explaining that a conventional legal process is no longer necessary for the left.
Oops, come on.
Left to get its way.
There we go.
No more trials or evidence or jury verdicts. An accusation made on television is now enough to remove a frontrunner from the presidential race. If Nancy Pelosi and Joe Scarborough call you bad, Americans are not allowed to vote for you. Watch.
Look, I believe he incited the insurrection. There were big questions around Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, and the Colorado Supreme Court has weighed in a very loud way, making themselves clear. Frankly, we've never had a president try to steal the presidency and engage in insurrection ever before. So Trump's actions are unprecedented. The Colorado Supreme Court confirmed that the district court got it right, that he did engage in insurrection. I think Section 3 of the 14th Amendment has to apply to the presidency, because if not, it's a get out of jail free card. And in a country of laws where no man is above another, we can't have one office be able to do whatever they want when it comes to rebellion and then be able to be seated in office again.
None of this seems very American. All of it looks like the actual end of democracy.
There you go. Full episode only on Tucker Carlson News, Tucker Carlson Network, which is tuckercarlson.com. Yeah, somebody was asking me what medium he's on. Why can't he be, it's weird. YouTube doesn't allow you to monetize things. He seems like he would be successful on YouTube. He doesn't say anything that crazy. So President Trump issued a statement about the Colorado Supreme Court ruling. I'll read that. Trump said, unsurprisingly, the all-Democrat appointed Colorado Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump, supporting a Soros-funded left-wing group's scheme to interfere in an election on behalf of crooked Joe Biden by removing President Trump's name from the ballot and eliminating the rights of Colorado voters to vote for the candidate of their choice. Democratic Party leaders are in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls. They have lost faith in the failed Biden presidency and are now doing everything they can to stop the American voters from throwing them out of office next November. The Colorado Supreme Court issued a completely flawed decision tonight, and we will swiftly file an appeal to the United States Supreme Court and a concurrent request for a stay of this deeply undemocratic decision. We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits. And that's from Stephen Chung, Trump campaign spokesman. I didn't even know about Stephen Chung. So somebody in the chat said this will only bring more Trump votes. Well, that's what a pollster says. Let me see if I can get you that. So there are a few responses to it. Here's a pollster on CNN saying exactly that. So since you made the comment, I'll play you that.
Frank, what do you think the impact of this ruling?
You have to turn up the volume.
Their support for him.
It's going to be exactly what the indictments did. It's going to be exactly what the criticism.
You know, let me try to get you a better. It's a 3-minute clip, so I don't want the volume to be so bad. Let me see if I can get you a better clip. Luntz. Frank Luntz. Okay, let's take a look. See how this search works. What was I playing it from? Let me see. This was him. So let's see if there's a longer clip. Here's Frank Luntz. Let me see if this is louder. They say it's going to make him even more popular. That's better. Oops. Hold on. I'm not sharing it with you. I'm not sharing it with you yet. Let me do that. And then this.
Strategist Frank Luntz, who has been getting the pulse of Trump voters for years. So the obvious first question, Frank, what do you think the impact of this ruling will be on their support for him?
It's going to be exactly what the indictments did. It's going to be exactly what the criticisms have done. Donald Trump thrives on negativity. He thrives on legal systems that try to hold him accountable. And I'm convinced that his polling numbers are going to go up. Just today, the New York Times published 6 key swing states and had Donald Trump up beyond the margin of error in 5 out of the 6. The polling earlier a month ago was significant. Trump is gaining. The more that he is prosecuted, the more that he is condemned, the higher his numbers go as people rally around him. And I would say to the judges, as I said to the Justice Department, you're actually making it more likely that Donald Trump is elected next November by how you are pursuing this. You don't explain the decisions. You don't put things in context. And so Trump climbs and climbs and climbs. And right now, he's beating Joe Biden clearly nationwide.
Well, for the judges would say, look, we're just going by the law without fear of favor. And I mean, but does the context even matter to Trump supporters? Because there have been, tonight's ruling was really lengthy, explaining point by point why they believe he incited the insurrection, why the 14th Amendment applies to him. But to the average Trump supporter, does that context even matter? Is this more about, once again, Trump is the victim of the deep state kind of thinking?
It actually proves Trump's point. It proves that the people in charge, the people in power, are trying to take him down. But you're not trying to reach all the Trump voters. You're simply trying to reach 3 or 4% of them that will make a difference in this election. Now, make no mistake, there's very few undecided voters right now. There are very few people going back and forth between Trump and Biden. It's more about those people are trying to decide whether or not to vote. And I got to tell you, Nikki Haley was gaining and gaining and gaining every single day, but she's going to be lost in the coverage for the next few days, maybe for the next couple of weeks. As Trump turns this to his advantage, he is the best victim politician I have ever seen in my 35 years in doing this. And this is exactly what he would have wanted in the run-up to the Iowa caucus.
Very quickly, because it stuck out to me in looking at these polls, how many people who sat out in 2020 are now saying they're going to vote and they're going to vote for Trump. So you think this just sort of supercharges that, right? It's going to just bring more people out to vote for him who maybe sat out before.
And the state that blew me away was Nevada, because that's a state with a significant percentage of Latino votes. Trump has been screaming about illegal immigration, and Nevada seems to be rewarding him for the language that he uses and for the intensity of his message. If Nevada's going this much for Trump, that ought to send you a big signal about what's happening in America today.
All right, Frank Luntz, thank you so much. Up next, the 360
Yep.
investigation, how the first
He doesn't
bill.
even have to do anything. He can just golf. Somebody said he can just golf his way. It's just because he's not Biden. And we have this immigration crisis. Oh my God, I barely even covered the immigration crisis. That's insane. A record number of people crossed the other day, and the situation at the border is just ridiculous. So there's that. The wars, the Ukraine war is pretty much lost. The Israel war on the Palestinians isn't reflecting well. So all bad. Hey, if you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can do that anytime. I did get, you guys know to do that, right? And you can also send super chats and stuff, but go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I'll read those later in the show. I did, like I mentioned, get some coffees from Al Shizzle. Al Shizzle bought 3 coffees and says, Merry Christmas. Thanks, Al Shizzle. Merry Christmas to you. And you can become a member there as well for $5 a month, $7 a month, or I think up to $50 a month if you really want to. That comes with a special prize. I can't tell you what it is. So anyway, buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil if you want to support the show. Now let me show you another response. People are worried that people are going to go nuts and do something stupid because of this decision, because of the attacks on Trump. So here's Jonathan Turley on Fox News.
Well, this court just handed partisans on both sides the ultimate tool to try to shortcut elections. And it's very, very dangerous. I mean, this country is a powder keg, and this court is just throwing matches at it. And I think that it's a real mistake, but I think that they're wrong on the law. You know, January 6th was many things, most of it not good. In my view, it was not an insurrection. It was a riot. That doesn't mean that the people responsible for that day shouldn't be held accountable. But to call this an insurrection for the purpose of disqualification would create a slippery slope for every state in the union. This is a time when we actually need democracy. We need to allow the voters to vote. We need to hear their decision. And the court here just said, you're not going to get that. In Colorado, we're not going to let you vote for Donald Trump.
No.
And, you know, you could dislike Trump. You could believe he's responsible for January 6th, but this isn't the way to do it. I mean, it is, you know, for people that say they're trying to protect democracy, this is hands down the most anti-democratic opinion I've seen in my lifetime.
There you go. The most anti-democratic decision he's seen in his lifetime. Yeah, I mean, it just does seem awfully partisan. So Vivek made a statement about it. I'll play that for you. Vivek says he's going to pull his own name off the ballot, but it looks like he's going to be on the ballot no matter what happens, based on some of the stuff I already played for you. Looks like he still will be on the ballot, but the Supreme Court should rule on it as well. So yeah, he wasn't found guilty anywhere of inciting insurrection. So these are just activist judges in Colorado. Here's Vivek saying he'll pull himself off the ballot.
They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution. This was a provision, Section 3, that was designed to bar Confederate members, people who switched to the Confederacy, from actually being able to serve. That's very different than what's at issue here, to say the least. This is a hollowed out husk of what the country was built on. The basic principle that we, the people, select our leadership, not the unelected elite class in the back of palace halls. That's old world Europe, not the United States. That's why I'm making a pledge today that I will withdraw. I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot unless and until Trump's name is restored. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic. I refuse to be complicit in that. I think what they're doing is wrong. And I think it's up to Republicans to step up and stand up with a spine for our country's future. That's really what's at stake, whether we, the people, actually have a say in deciding who leads this country. Yes, it would be easier for other Republicans like me who are running in this race to say, hey, if Trump is sidelined, there's our opportunity. No doubt other candidates are probably privately celebrating with their corporate sponsors. That's not the right thing to do. I think the most useful thing that every GOP candidate can do right now is to join me in that pledge. I'll say that I will withdraw from that Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump's name is restored. This belongs to the people, not to the unelected Democratic cabal of judges in Colorado or any other state. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, or else they're complicit in what this security state is trying to do to shut down Trump. I stand by that, and I expect them to do the right thing.
There you go. That's Vivek in the back of his bus. It looks like pretty nice bus. So Vivek responded to it. Ron DeSantis responded to it here.
Look, if somebody's convicted or something of some of these things, there was no trial on any of this. They basically just said, what, you can't be on the ballot? I mean, how does that work? What's the limiting principle for that? Why could we just say that Biden can't be on the ballot because he let in 8 million illegals into the country and violated the Constitution, which he has? Could we just say, oh, well, they have money coming to Hunter, whatever? So I think the U.S. Supreme Court is going to reverse that. But here's the larger thing of what the left and the media and the Democrats are doing. They're doing all this stuff to basically solidify support in the primary. Look, if somebody's convicted or
so, what are they trying to do? We still have Trump is still the favorite, is the favorite as far as betting odds go for the election. Nikki Haley is in third place at 10 cents and Gavin Newsom is in fourth place at 9 cents. But Donald Trump at 41 cents, Joe Biden at 40 cents. But yeah, I mean, it looks like, I honestly, Donald Trump doesn't have to say anything because people think that Biden is doing such a bad job. Here's Trump saying that Biden is a threat to democracy. I have that clip here.
It's no wonder crooked Joe Biden and the far left lunatics are desperate to stop us by any means necessary. They are willing to violate the U.S. Constitution at levels never seen before in order to win this election. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. It's a threat. They're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference because we're beating them so badly in the polls. It's no wonder
there you go. So he says Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. Joe Biden is saying he's echoing Nazi rhetoric. That's the latest thing. I played you guys a clip of that they say he's invoking Nazi rhetoric, saying our blood is going to become impure or something. But man, we have like the situation at the border is dire right now. I don't have any reports on that for today, but just so everybody knows. All right. Oh, do we want to talk about trans issues? Okay. I have some transgender news. So that's the news. Okay. So I gave you the news about Epstein. I gave you the news about the Colorado ruling and more rulings that may follow. This is a transgender, a male to female transgender person has now been accused of rape of 2 children under the age of 13. So, and that is an LGBT, and she was an LGBTQ plus advocate. I have a clip of this person, this individual, them speaking. So this person now who was an advocate and who was on the news. So I'll play a clip of that.
Now the details here. Philadelphia transgender activist identified as Kendall Stevens is now charged with sexually assaulting 2 children under the age of 13.
Yeah, Gray and Shari, disturbing details. Kendall Stevens was arrested today for the rape of a minor. Sources confirm that she is the same Stevens who is a prominent LGBTQ activist in the city. The state attorney general's office filed charges tonight against 37-year-old Kendall Stevens. The charges include the indecent assault against a person less than 13 years old, rape, unlawful contact with minors, sexual offenses, and endangering the welfare of children, parent, or guardian.
That we really haven't gotten historically.
Sources tell Action News the charges are in relation to the rape of 2 young boys under the age of 13. Stevens remains in custody tonight.
Oh, I did not. I still have my boy parts. And that's just more to do because to me, again, femininity on my own terms. Not on anyone else. And that, and I would have natural women come to me sometimes and say, you just want what we got. You just want, I'm like, sweetheart, if I wanted a vagina, I would have one in 2 weeks. It'd be brand new and it'd be fully functional and I would be just fine. That's not what I want. I'm not trying to be you. I want to be me, but in a feminine expression.
There you go. So that's news from the transgender world. Check this out. I have news from Israel. They caught a soldier who was about to throw a grenade basically at civilians and journalists and then just draws it back at the last minute. Do you want to see that? I'll show you that.
Literally,
check this out.
Medics, so you can see there are
Journalists and medics. And look at this.
Oh, he just told him not to throw. You can see it. They saw the camera and didn't throw.
There you go.
You can see in his hands. Stun grenade.
So there you go.
Journalists and medics, so you can see.
So that's a little bit of the scene going on in Gaza. Democrats aren't that happy about it. So check this out. News about Seth Rich. There's some Julian Assange news. He's going to get an appeal coming up in February, I believe. Here's some confirmation, apparently, that Seth Rich was the leaker. I always question this. I always question the whole Seth Rich story. But this is a person who is apparently a member of Julian Assange's team, confirming that Seth Rich is the one who actually leaked the files.
Lindsay, real quick, we have 30 seconds. I know you have some information on Seth Rich. That's moving forward, getting access to that. Tell us what you know, because we're going to talk more about it in the show tomorrow.
Yeah, so I have been in touch with someone that directly worked with Julian Assange, who's part of their team, and they confided in me that it was Seth Rich that leaked the DNC information, which completely contradicts the Mueller report, which said it was a Russian hacker leak. Yeah. And the murder of Seth Rich has never been solved. They tried to say that it was a robbery, but nothing on his person, as far as I'm aware, was stolen. He still had his wallet intact. So none of that made sense. It's never been solved. And now this judge is pushing back on the FBI to release all the pages that they did not release last year when he demanded it. So it should be interesting.
We can't wait to see that. We're going to talk to Ty Clevenger, who is working on this case, the lawyer working on this case tomorrow. So everyone will stick around for that. Thank you so much, Texas Lindsay. Lindsay Jones.
There you go. So that's news. Paul Gosar introduced a resolution declaring that regular journalistic activities are protected by the First Amendment and that the U.S. government must end its prosecution of Julian Assange. And only 2 Democrats co-sponsored the resolution. So there is a resolution. Let me see if I click on this article, if it shows it. A bipartisan congressional resolution calls on U.S. officials to drop charges against Julian Assange. So that would be great. Talk about a hero. So that's what's going on with Julian Assange. He apparently is going to get a hearing, an appeal hearing in February. So where he has a last chance to appeal his extradition to the United States. So All right, now let me give you a little bit of economic news. You know, student loan borrowers started having to repay their loans, and 40% of people with student loans are now not paying, even though they just got their first bill in years. So student loan payments got halted because of the pandemic, and now they finally got restarted last month, but only 60% paid. That's what it's saying. 60% paid is what the government is saying. Then I have some news about housing. Let me just play you that. I play from this guy, Peter St. Ange, PhD. Anyway, I play these clips from time to time. So this is about property prices. Property prices are falling in major US cities. So let me play you that clip just so you know. And then the stock market could be due for a real correction. And it started today. So we'll see how that plays out.
Property prices are in quote free fall in dozens of major US cities with new buyers
let me
losing.
stop this real quick. Say Renee says my propaganda hoodie came and I love it. Soft, nicely printed as always, and quick shipping. I'm late and going to rewind while I make supper and do dishes. That's great. Glad I can be your guest. I'm glad I can be a guest in your home while you do something else. That's what I do too. We listen to Tucker, we listen to Glenn Greenwald or whatever while I'm cooking dinner or while Katie's cooking dinner or whatever it might be. So that's nice. I'm glad to be your companion for that time, for the hour we spend together every day. Let me show you the shop though. We are having a sale, and the propaganda shirt, the propaganda hoodie, which you mentioned, I think you might have bought before it was on sale. So I don't want to make you feel bad, but probably you don't because it's so great. These are some of the examples. I think you got this propaganda hoodie right here, which is awesome. And that is 25% off that price using the code Mary25. And I have them right over here from where I'm sitting. They're right over there. So go ahead and pick up one of those or a Question Everything shirt. And get 25% off and get it not in time for Christmas, probably. But you can treat yourself to a Christmas present. But all this stuff on our homepage is 25% off. Even I think the Bitcoin Saves shirts are 25% off. Everything. So everything that's full price is 25% off. So only stuff that's already on sale isn't 25% off, I believe. So that's with code Mary25 at truthclothing.io. Thanks, Renee. Glad to be able to hook you up with that hoodie once you get to this. Batman Elite, you're making pizza? Cool, man. Yeah, it's good to listen. And then if you ever want to, listen to the podcast. If you ever want to just listen, you can listen to the podcast by following me on Substack at lifttheveil.substack.com or by going to iTunes or the podcast app on Apple. Okay, I'll play this and then we'll wrap up. Then we've done about an hour. Then I got to run to the post office and drop off some packages. So
property prices are in quote free fall in dozens of major US cities with new buyers losing catastrophic amounts of money. Some areas buyers have lost between $70,000 and $122,000 in just the past couple months. Much of it by first-time home buyers who probably didn't have $70,000 to spare. That comes to roughly $1,000 per week, their punishment for braving a blue city in the worst mortgage rates in a generation. The number comes from Newsweek, citing a study by Point2 Homes that found prices are sliding in dozens of major markets, in some cases by double digits. So Memphis, for example, is down 17%. In fact, single-family homes are falling in 25 out of the top 100 housing markets in the US, and in 36 of the top 100 for condos. Those are favored by young families and the elderly. Of course, nationwide housing is still up thanks to a frozen mortgage market, but in some cities it is fairly dire. So in budding post-apocalyptic hellscape San Francisco, they dropped $122,500 in just a few months. Couldn't happen to a better crowd. With junior hellscape Manhattan right behind at $70,000, lost to Jerome Powell's adventures in interest rates. Newsweek notes that a quarter of those buyers were first-timers, meaning young families trying to get a financial foothold. They're now very deep in the hole. In fact, many are now facing negative equity, meaning they owe more on the house than it's worth, as in their down payment is wiped out and they're now in the hock to the bank. The wider problem here is the fading prospects for the next generation. So rising home equity has been the main thing rescuing Americans from a 20-year lost decade of productivity since 2000. So your earnings stalled, but at least you had the home equity. Thing is, even if that continues, home equity only works if you own a house. If the next generation is looking at renting for life, they lose the payback they were expecting for the permanently low interest rates. Already, you're looking at an entire cohort of people in their prime home buying age who will miss the boat altogether. So first-time homebuyers at this point are an endangered species, making up just 26% of buyers last year. That's down from half a decade ago. According to the National Association of Realtors, the average age of a first-time homebuyer was 36 last year, up 3 years from the previous year and soaring from a decade ago. So how many people are we talking here? Returning to the NAR, just 60% of older millennials in their 40s own a house. At that age, 64% of Gen X own, 68% of boomers, and 73% of the silent generation. So spot the trend. Carried to the entire population, that comes to 16 million young families left behind renting for the rest of their lives. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. The other day, I described the Fed as stuffing an elephant into a canoe with no elegant way to get it off. They broke inflation, they're breaking the economy as we speak, and they've apparently cut off one of the last remaining wealth-building sources for young Americans. For millions of those young Americans, the American dream has become the American slog. Okay, we'll be watching.
There you go.
See you next time.
So there's some economic news. And finally, economic news, Solana. That's my favorite cryptocurrency. Solana and Avalanche, which I don't own any of, but Solana's up today and Bitcoin is up today. So I'll just show you the chart. There's the Solana chart, the daily chart. Solana up 11.64% today. That's big. You could have gotten in when I started mentioning it. It's up from down here around $25. It's now $81.58 and just pumping like crazy. That is a very sophisticated cryptocurrency. And then if you need any help with crypto, you can just text me and I can set up a consulting session with you so you can get in. They say the ETF is going to be approved before January 10th. So you can just text me at 650-429-8294 and we can set up a session if you're interested. That's how I can do some work. And I really love, I love the chance to interact with people one-on-one. So if you need any help with anything, or if you need help with tutoring of any kind, mathematics especially, I can help out with that too. You can just text me or reach out to me on Twitter at lifttheveil411, at lifttheveil411. All right. Thanks, everybody. Go get your t-shirts while we still have them on sale. The sale might not last long. 25% off everything. People need to stock up. truthclothing.io. All right. You guys got it? Thanks, everybody. I don't see any super chats. I don't think I got any. I'll see if I got any coffees, any extra coffees. I'll refresh that right now. Yeah, go ahead and spread the Christmas cheer if you like the show, if you feel like it brought you value this year. If that's what we're trying to do, is bring you some value, bring you some truth, and just get together like a community. All right. So for now, that's what it is.